Ray, this is Walter.
No! Around the clock, we're gonna rock to the rhythm of the street. Down the block, around the clock, we're gonna rock the dreams you give the streets to talk. Wanna be somebody, be a contender. Gotta reach for the sky. If you want it, fight for it, or kiss it goodbye. It's make it or break it. Try to survive. Don't ever say never. Keep your dream alive. Around the clock, we're gonna rock to the rhythm of the street. Down the block.
He's Blake. I'm Ronnie. All the good names are taken. Podcast. Blake, how's it going?
It's going really good, man. How about you?
I have zero.
Shane Emerson asks, what do you do when they keep smashing the shit out of your best pitches?
You got to mix it up. You got to throw a little off speed, mix your fastball, corner to corner. It's all about location, right, Blake?
Yeah. Make sure we're grabbing grass after every throw. Follow through, Shane. Follow
There
through.
you go. I'm glad Shane is in Twitch. He mixes it up. Sometimes he's in the YouTube chat. Sometimes he jumps over to the Twitch chat to ask questions because he knows we have text to speech over there. Anyway, Blake, good week, bad week. How's everything going?
It's been a pretty good week so far. Happy hump day. But yeah, no complaints so far. How about you?
See, you're the most positive person because I'm headed to work Monday and you send a picture of a blown out tire early that morning. So the fact that you're saying it's been a great week just goes to show just how much of a glass half full person you are. I would have called in sick the rest of the week if my tire would have blown.
Well, I mean, I think that just set the tone for me, Ronnie. It was Monday at like 5:30 a.m. I had to get my wife to jump start the car. So I was already like 15 minutes late. Battery was dead. So then 20 minutes later, I had a blowout on the highway and I put the spare on. By the time I put the spare on, the battery had died again. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I was like, the day can't get any worse. So let's go.
Blake, Twitch is hopping.
Shape of Horror podcast asks, is Darren in the chat? If so, then I got to freeze up and forget what to say.
I don't think Darren's there, Blake, so I think we're going to be okay. So did you get the battery replaced?
Oh, buddy, that day, it's a company car. That day we replaced the battery, replaced 2 back tires. It was great. We spent a lot of the company's money. Very good day.
Why not just go ahead and get 4 brand new tires because your job don't want to
There's
give it
still
away.
some tread left on the front, baby. We good.
See, after you sent that picture of your blown out tire, I'm getting out at work and I look at my front driver's side tire and I just see wires hanging out of it because that's how bald it is right now. It's more. I've got more hair on my head than that tire has tread.
I knew it. You teed yourself up. I knew it.
So I was, I don't know. I got to get a front tire. So I start Googling how much does a front tire cost. I can never afford it. So I'm just
Hey,
going
look, check out my new collective stuff I got in the background, Ronnie. I've really updated my son's room.
What is looks like a Jason hockey mask.
I got that from Richard Brooker.
The actual guy?
No, my neighbor. He's a dentist.
And then it looks like a plush Hulk Hogan. I was going to say bathroom buddy, but that's
Plush?
not.
Did you call him a plush?
No, what is it?
It's a wrestling buddy.
Yeah, it's like you used to body slam them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have one of those and a Raggedy Ann doll that we do the suplexes to, backdrops, things like that.
Nick Push asks, how do I get invited to a college party? I'm looking for Slash.
So, okay, we're going to cut it off right there. Don't be filthy, Nick Push, in the Twitch chat. Blake, any suggestions how you can get invited to a college party? And this all stems from last night. I can't believe he's still not bringing it up. Going to the Grave last night debuted with Nick and Bud, and the first thing he said was, how do I get to a college party with Shane Emerson?
I mean, do you need an invite on a college party? Don't you just show up?
I think you can walk up, but, Nick comes walking up with that medium shirt.
I think the move is to throw a college party, Ronnie.
At his house?
at his house. You put the sign up, free beer. Of course, you don't have free beer, but free beer, college party. You write on there, college party. And that's how you end up at a college party. You throw it yourself.
I don't even know why you would want to go to a college party. Those are horrible. I mean, I'm an old man. I don't have any desire to go to any kind of party.
He keeps getting older. They stay the same age, Ronnie.
Jake Blaster asks, how would you guys fix Halloween H2O?
Good question. You want to take this one, Blake? They're popping with the questions today already.
What I would do is I would take Jamie Lloyd out of part 6 and I'd put her in H2O.
I like it. So really what you're doing, you're fixing 6.
Well, no, I think that fixes 7 too.
I think I would go back and kill everybody that tried to write Halloween 6 before they got it wrote.
Oh, so you'd go into the pre-production and kill everyone.
Yeah, I would go into that writer's room that probably didn't look like Crystal Lake writer's room, and I would do like the Man in Black did at the end of Halloween 5. I would just be Tommy gunning everybody. Because it was Travis Tritt's cameo at the end of Halloween 5. He was the Man in Black.
Travis Tritt was also in Cowboy Way.
Was Travis Tritt in Cowboy Way?
I think so.
Here's the deal. I was looking up because you have thrown us to the wolves with Lethal Weapon Part 5.
Okay.
So the Twitter account's getting blowed up. Can you guys please just give me any information?
No.
On Lethal Weapon 5. So I decided to see what the rest of YouTube was talking about with Lethal Weapon 5. Dude, when we get done with the show here in 20 minutes, I want you to go and look up some of these thumbnails that people have, this clickbait garbage of, you even posted a picture of old Riggs with the mullet. He hadn't had the mullet. He didn't have the mullet in the last movie. Why would he bring back the mullet when he's 70?
I don't know. I recently found audio of Mel Gibson's personal phone calls and voicemails and stuff, and I really hope they incorporate that somehow into Lethal Weapon 5 because that is fantastic.
I think that's going to explain why he was kicked off the force, and it's just going to be Murtaugh there. And look, here's what I do know about Lethal Weapon Part 5. It is going to happen. Mel Gibson is going to direct, and he even said it in an interview. Him and Murtaugh,
Gotta be true.
Him and Murtaugh are going to be the main stars of it. He said they can fake it, even though they're too old. It's going to be a situation where they fake it
until you make it.
Exactly. That's why for you to finish with that. But anyway, I think we should do it, Blake. I think we should give Lethal Weapon the full horror YouTube treatment because I tell you right now, ranking videos, our favorite moments, what we expect to see. I love horror.
You're giving away all of our content, Ronnie. That's what we're fixing to do with Lethal Weapon. Rank the Lethal Weapons. Favorite moment of Lethal Weapons. How could you make Lethal Weapon better? Let's ruin Lethal Weapon. It's all coming soon. What
do we want to see in Lethal Weapon 5? Dude, horror YouTube is so cyclical that now we got to the predict Scream 6 stage, and then everybody got into their spoiler review, non-spoiler review. Maybe I had them backwards.
Yeah.
And then let's rank the killers again. And then what do we want to see in part 7?
Yeah.
And now it's all the way back around to who can now show up. Stu Train. I saw a video the other night where they was talking about like 50 people that's died in the Scream franchise that can show back up.
Bring them all back. I love it. I love it.
Bring Kenny the cameraman back, but you bring him back as Warren from
Something About Mary.
Something About Mary. So the whole movie, he lost so much blood.
Franks and Beans, Ghostface. Franks and Beans.
He lost so much blood. He's just fully. And there you go. I mean,
was that a live edit?
No.
Look at my man here.
Let's check the chat, Blake. Is there anybody? Okay, before I go to the chat, I got a question because Chris Fantazi, great supporter of the show, Patreon, and he's a Grumpy Goat member. Before I talk about him, before I talk about him, I'm all over the place. Coke's really working tonight. We have a new Grumpy Goat member, Blake. We have and I don't know if he's in the chat or not, but I'm going to go ahead and celebrate him. Jim Bob. Newest Grumpy Goat. And just for him, he gets this.
Did the chair collapse?
I don't know.
When he reached for the Coke?
I don't know.
Was that Beetlejuice?
I don't know who that was. He didn't look right, whoever it was. So thanks, Jim Bob, for becoming a channel member. Anybody can become a channel member. How much does this crap cost, Blake?
It costs too much. It costs way too much.
I think it's like $1.99 to help support the show. So if you want to, great. If you don't, you don't have to. We did a good, bad, and the ugly of Any Which Way You Can for Jet.
Yeah.
And we bragged for 30 minutes, Blake, about how great that movie is. Then we spun the wheel for the members, and Maverick Media, Mav, his suggestion, his request of 8 seconds with Lane Frost, Luke Perry, whatever the hell his name is. Is going to be our next Grumpy Goat / Patreon member review. Good, bad, and the ugly of 8 seconds. So if you're interested in seeing that, jump on board. What's the worst that can happen? All right, to the chat, Blake.
Go to the chat, brother. Read it off.
Is there anything of interest here? Okay, yeah, you weren't going to let me get back on my thing. I saw this right here. Welcome aboard, Chris. Glad you're here. I get onto Twitter.
Yeah.
And all I see, no, I'm lying. I'm checking comments, a comment alert, and it says, "I'll get it for y'all. Don't worry." It's like I joined it in progress. I'll get it for you. Don't worry. I got to steal it. You have to put it behind you when I send it to you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I just ignored it. I had no idea what he was talking about. Please clue me in on what the hell the magician, the great and amazing Fantazi, is talking about.
So, Ronnie, Haddonfield, Illinois, and Crystal Lake is in Jersey or whatever. Like, there's real cities in Jersey, right? Or in New York, somewhere over there. There's a real Haddonfield, and there's a city called Voorhees. And they're actually really close to each other. Turns out our boy Fantazi, the magician, he lives right in between them. So as a joke in the chat last night of Take It to the Grave with Bud and Nick, I said, Chris, man, you got to get me one of those signs, street sign, welcome to this sign, whatever. He's like, man, I can't do that. They're really big. And it's like, they're really big. Steal me a water tower. But no, he thought about it for 5 minutes and he was like, F it. I'll get you the sign. It'll take me a couple of days, but I'll get you the sign. I love it.
Drive through it? I mean,
I think he's just going to hook a chain to it and drag it back to his house. Either way, I love it, man. I love the effort. Even if I don't get it, I love it.
Don't do that, Chris. You're going to get arrested. Don't do that.
So what is the ruling on that, Ronnie? If we publicly say he's going to steal a sign, and then 2 weeks later, I got the sign. I got a sign in the back of my backdrop.
What is this we stuff? We have not said anything. You are.
Are you French? Oui. What's this?
Oui. I mean, you got something in your pocket.
you got a mouse in your pocket. What are you saying we for?
You're telling Fantazi to steal a road sign from you on the freaking internet.
I'm putting it out. I'm putting it out there right now, Ronnie. YouTube, law enforcement. I just ordered a Haddonfield sign and a Voorhees sign off of Amazon, and it should be here. What do you think, Chris? In a couple of weeks? It'll probably be here in a couple of weeks. So there you go.
Allie's in the chat saying happy Wednesday. Brett's here. That Halloween. No, wait. Yeah, that Halloween. Look, dude. Last night, I'm watching these guys talk about stripes, and they brought up a great point. We're 15 minutes in. We haven't even begun to talk about. What
is that logo? The Blue Oyster. What is that? Is that a restaurant?
No, that's the gay bar in Police Academy.
Nice.
But anyway, they were talking about Stripes, and they brought up a good question: Stripes or Caddyshack? And I think it's a no-brainer. It's Stripes all day long. Stripes is the better movie.
But you say it's no question. It is. No, I'm not
For
going to
me,
say.
for me,
For
for
me,
my
look,
opinion.
for me, it's Stripes as well. But I mean, Caddyshack is right there. That's a really tough one. My tough one for you that I think I asked him later on is, what about Bob or Groundhog's Day?
Oh, what about Bob?
Really?
I mean, yeah, what about Bob and the performance of not only Bill Murray, but Richard Dreyfuss, who steals that movie, who steals the show by being the crazy person in that? That's what's great. I mean, Groundhog Day is good. I could watch What About Bob like 50 times in a row. Groundhog Day, probably just 47. There you go.
Oh, okay. Well,
All right, here's Chris incriminating himself.
no, he's not. Chris he's a practical joker. He's definitely not stealing me the Haddonfield sign and sending it to Mississippi. So for me to put right here.
Nick Push is in the chat. Check out Nick Push's Hard channel. You can't teach a positive mindset. Well done, Blake. That's a winner's mentality. Okay, we got something going on here. Allie says, Blake made me laugh when I really needed it on Monday. I'm just glad you are okay, Blake. So must have some kind of crisis this week for that person, Blake.
Yeah, her favorite NHL team is blowing it in the playoffs, Ronnie. And her favorite player got hurt or got killed, one of the two, and it's just not been a good couple of days.
Is her favorite NBA player the one that got stomped?
It's not an NBA. Did I say NBA? I meant NHL.
I wasn't listening.
Yeah, it's a Dallas Stars thing. I think they play tonight too.
Hey, Jet's in the chat. I told you he's my number one till somebody picks a better movie.
Has Jet seen our review yet? Have you put it up for Patreon yet?
Yeah, it's been up for days. Christopher Sanchez says, bruh, we trust this guy, Blake. What's his deal?
I don't trust him, and it ain't got nothing to do with his name. I just don't trust him.
Look at that picture right there. He's got he's holding up the peace sign, or is he being filthy with that right? Do I need to kick this guy out of the chat?
I think that's filthy, Ronnie. I think that's filthy.
You want me to get him gone?
Chris, you got to go, brother. I don't like your attitude.
I'll give him a chance.
Give him a chance.
I'll give him a chance. Hold on. What is this?
Wait a minute. Dad?
I think it is our dad. All right. There you go.
Well, he's very perceptive.
Yeah, he really is. Let's see. You are the ones. Okay. He's 59. Oh, talking about Mel Gibson.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon.
Nick Push being racist, finds out Rene Russo is Jewish and goes, I would be, Sally says she'd rather see Lethal Weapon than a new Die Hard.
I don't think you're going to get a new Die Hard. Isn't Bruce Willis not doing very well? Yeah, there he is. There's Magician. Okay.
Chris is on point right here. Bruce Willis has onset of early dementia. I don't think there's going to be any more.
Yeah,
there you go. Brett says we need to get Alfred to come back from the first Lethal Weapon still wearing his 3D glasses. That would be great. He had paint. Let's see. I don't know if I see anything else in here. All right. There's Pat. He's in here. There you go. I love that everybody that watches everybody else's channel, they pop in for a second. Jeff Vanian says Meatballs or My Bodyguard.
I got to go Meatballs. I don't think I've ever seen My Bodyguard, Ronnie.
Okay. First off, this is Meatballs 1, which I think is a truly piece of crap movie.
Yeah.
My Bodyguard, I watched that recently when I was doing investigations trying to figure out what Halloween Ends was going to look like. So I watched this movie, and then I watched Halloween Ends, which was exactly this movie. My Bodyguard is no good at all either. So out of these two, I'm going Meatballs. There you go.
I trust you.
Yeah, I think I'm through here, Blake. So the chat gets me like, I get caught up in it, Blake, and I don't know what to do. I don't know. Don't want to leave anybody out, and it just turns into just craziness before it's all said and done. So our first ever, Blake, Good, Bad, and the Ugly live. So let's see how this goes, if we need to do this anymore. The Burbs, Blake, 1989, directed by Joe Dante, starring Tom Hanks, Carrie Fisher, Bruce Dern, Corey Feldman. So a quick question, Blake, is this the last movie that Corey Feldman was normal? And I'm not saying he was normal in his life. Everybody that knows anything about the Burbs knows that he had some kind of breakdown on this movie and was supposedly counseled by Carrie Fisher. And when you think about the fact that Carrie Fisher died because she was on a potion of ecstasy and coke and everything else, allegedly, I mean, that's probably not the person that needs to be mentoring you as a young celebrity trying not to be on drugs. But was this the last role where you watch him on TV and go, okay, well, that's not sad?
Yeah, probably. You're probably right.
I think so too. I think he does have some, I think it's before his soul died. And then you factor in that IMDb said that he would constantly bring Michael Jackson's monkey, the actual monkey, not the monkey in his britches, to the set to let everybody pet on him and things like that. So I'm
not going to stand for any Carrie Fisher slander. You're talking about her being on speed and ecstasy and coke. That's all ingredients to the force, Ronnie. The force was strong with her. Okay.
I'm 90 and I'm on ecstasy. I don't even know what that means, to be completely honest with you. So let's pull it up really quick right here, Blake.
All right.
Where is the cast? We always start with the cast. So, of course, I've just got the cast of guys right here. And I'm going to say right off the bat, I love the cast of this movie. Bruce Dern is absolutely fantastic in this movie. Tom Hanks is great in this movie. Rick Dukeman this is his best role. And I know Rick Dukeman, let me find him for you really quick, Blake. Look at Rick Dukeman in 1986's A Fine Mess, starring Ted Danson and Howie Mandel, a movie that we will review eventually if somebody requests it. And
Good Lord.
Look at him 3 years later as Art in The Burbs. The dude lost a massive amount of weight up top. He's got the mullet working. He's got the titties working. Down below, he's chiseled. He's got the double shirt on, but sometimes you can go with the double shirt and it works. Yeah. The hair's working. The face is working. Good looking dude on the bottom. He obviously worked his tail off to get himself to look like that, or he was on coke. Either way, you got to admire the commitment that he had to try to make himself look like a second in command for Hollywood.
I had a guy that I worked with, Ronnie, back right before Christmas. I was rocking the double shirt, feeling a little insecure. And he's like, "What are you doing? Are you in high school? Lose the double shirt, embrace it." So
he's right.
No more double shirt.
Well, I can't, I probably need to do the double shirt, but my ego won't allow me to do the double shirt. And once I put 2 4X shirts on, it makes it look like I'm wearing a couch. So it makes me look even bigger. So I just don't go with that. One time I wore one of them compression shirts and almost passed out. So I've got away from the compression shirts, and I'm just letting it all hang out, Blake.
I mean, you're right about his transformation, though. I mean, everything got better. His hair I love that hairstyle. I wish I had that hair, to be honest with you. It's slightly parted. I think that's a great look. And, well, how much do you think he weighs in the top picture compared to – because he's still considered a fat guy, even though he's not –
Hollywood fat.
Yeah, he's Hollywood fat. And, of course, they let him – he's eating in every scene. It's typical 80s. He's fat, so he's got to be eating. How much do you think he weighs in the top and the bottom?
All right, before we answer, everybody that's in the chat room right now that's still around, how much does Rick Dukeman weigh in that top picture from 1986 is A Fine Mess? If you haven't seen that movie with Ted Danson and Howie Mandel, go watch it. Put your predictions or your thoughts in the chat. Blake, you want me to go first or you go first on this? I'm perfect when it comes to this. I know exactly what he weighs.
Yeah, I'm good with you going. I don't have an answer. That's why I asked you.
So Tom Hanks, is probably around 6 foot, right? Anywhere from 5'10" to 6 foot. He's right there with him. So that means Howie Mandel is probably close to 6 foot, anywhere between 5'10" and 6 foot. And he's that big. In the top picture, he probably weighs 375 pounds, give or take 10 pounds. In the bottom picture down there, I'd say he's a solid 220.
All right, so I actually looked him up on IMDb, Ronnie. He weighs over 440 pounds in that top picture. He lost 200 pounds in a 3-year period.
You're lying your ass off.
I'm not lying. I mean, listen, it may not be true, but it's on IMDb. So Abraham Lincoln said if it's on IMDb, it's got to be true. Yeah, it is. Go to his page and look it up.
All right, let's see.
He's fat.
Okay. Nick Push, this or blank check. What are we talking about? Here we go. I knew Pat was going to say he loved to find mess. Jed agrees with me. He was on blow. Brett's coming in with this knowledge like we don't know he's the guy in the manhole on Die Hard that's telling Agent Johnson and Johnson, hey, I can just cut the power right down here. He's also in Groundhog Day. I didn't know he was one of the bad guys in Monsters with Howie Mandel. Or in Fred Savage, where they're under the bed and he shoots him with piss out of the water gun at the end of it. Let's see. Double shirts are out for guys. Who knew? Brett Patrick says he weighs 300 pounds up top. Jet says 309. Chris coming in with the little monsters. Allie says he weighs 320 pounds. I think I may have overshot it. Yeah, Yokozuna weighed 700 pounds. So let's see. I would actually like to know that. Jet says Andre was 7'8", even though he was 6'10". I'm getting away from this chat, dude. I don't even know.
Well, I mean, it's just a tough pill to swallow, Ronnie. The reason I want to believe I'm right is because at this point last year, I weighed 300 pounds, and I don't want to believe that I was as big as that top pitcher.
Oh, no, you were never as big as Rick Dukeman in A Fine Mess starring Ted Danson and Howie Mandel. He's 380. I'm going up now. It's 380 at least, even with the jacket on. Well, you got to factor this in. They didn't make those jackets in super big sizes in the 80s.
Are you sure?
I think it's got to be a 3X or less, but he could still be 330, 340. He's going to have to turn around and let me see what he's working with in the front right there. I really don't know. Anyway, back to the guys. We've assembled a cast in this movie that play off each other perfectly. Now, a little backstory into this. The writer's strike started and they rushed this movie to production. So they filmed this movie in order, Blake, which apparently they rarely do. And as they're filming this movie in order, nobody could do the rewrites because a writer was not able to do that on set. So a lot of these takes that we see and we love today are improvised by these actors. So when you factor that in to this movie, I mean, this is movie magic. I mean, I don't know what you got to say about it, but this is movie magic. I think all of these characters work really well off each other throughout the movie. I know I don't have pictures of their wives, but we'll get to that later. But Art is a good comedic character to Ray's straight guy. Rumsfeld is the neighborhood veteran / wacko / tough guy.
Yeah.
And it all plays out because what I got from this movie, Blake, and you may disagree and fill me in with your thoughts is I'm not sure any of these people in this neighborhood like each other, but they hate the idea of somebody messing up the neighborhood even more than they hate each other because these Klopeks move in and they're not taking care of the yard. Somehow the house now looks like it's rotted in after just only a couple of months or whatever. And it's bringing the whole neighborhood down. And everybody's got somebody like that in their neighborhood that doesn't mow their grass or don't paint their house, things like that. So, I mean,
it's almost like the Klopeks brought the neighborhood together in a way. You know, you talked about it, mentioned how they didn't like each other. It felt like Art thought he was friends with everyone, even though nobody liked Art.
Yeah, Art was a clown. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Art the clown. There you go. But anyway, a lot of things in this movie, and I want to talk about the outside stuff first. Every did you know that you research on the Burbs talk about how Tom Hanks did not want to be a father in this movie because he felt that if he was a father of a child with a wife, that takes away all his comedy movies where he's the fun uncle or whatever. So he fought hard not to have a son in this movie. And it got me to thinking, how many scenes are there where Tom Hanks is talking to his son in this movie? And did they make that specifically for Tom Hanks, who didn't want to be considered a dad in the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. And that's going to be one of my talking points a little later on is the relationship between Tom Hanks and the son.
Oh, why can't we talk about it now? Well, what the hell are we waiting for later on?
You want to go to the bad?
No.
Okay.
No, I was just doing the introduction right now, and you're getting crazy with it. I don't
Getting
know.
jiggy with it.
So let's talk about Bruce Dern. If you had, who's your favorite character?
Oh gosh, that's tough. In a movie like this, it's tough. It really is. The introduction to Bruce Dern with
I'm glad.
War Machine playing and him putting on the glasses and raising the American flag.
I'm glad you said that. That was the only note I made for this movie. Bruce Dern's introduction. Maybe in the chat, what character has a better introduction in a movie than Bruce Dern right here? Look at this stud, Blake. Look at this guy. He's rocking the outfit I need to be rocking every day. The pants are over the belly button. He's got his tags on right there. If Brian Dennehy's anywhere around, he's going to rip them off his neck. He's got the life preserver like Marty McFly. What are you going to say?
Could we pull off the vest with no undershirt look, Ronnie?
Absolutely. You know why?
Why's
One
that?
word. That's what Jack Palance said. Confidence. Look at that. Perfect. All right. So explain the situation right here. This is his wife, Blake. Is he what's the age situation here? What are we dealing with?
It's trophy wife. It's a trophy wife. He's got a smoking hot 20-something-year-old wife. He's in his late 40s, early 50s, Ronnie.
Okay. So you're thinking late 40s, early 50s. I was going to say 70.
No, stop it.
But you're saying she's 20s with that haircut?
Yes, she's 20s with that haircut. You got to remember what year this is, Ronnie. And she's also smoking hot. Seth MacFarlane loved this movie so much, he cast her as the voice of the mom in American Dad.
Really?
Yeah.
He is amazing. That scene is amazing. And Bruce Dern has some of the greatest scenes in this movie, Blake. If anything, I think he chews up every bit of scenery that he's in. Would you agree, disagree, or you think there's somebody else out there better than him?
It's tough to say, Ronnie, because there's not a bad scene in this movie. Every character has really good scenes. So to say Bruce Dern is probably my favorite character in this movie. Rumsfeld's probably my favorite character in this movie, but I mean, that's not a slight toward any of the other ones. So I will say this. I probably have, even though I'm contradicting myself, I probably have Art at the bottom of that, of the list.
All right, real quick, let's rank them. Rumsfeld, Ray, Art, Ricky across the street.
See, I think the banner between Ricky and Rumsfeld has Ricky up there even higher.
I should have had this queued up. I love it when you put me on the spot.
Rumsfeld, dude, what are you doing with a gun?
Shut up and paint your goddamn house.
Whoa!
Whoa! Whoa! Pizza dude!
That is great. I mean, what kind of parents leave? How old is Ricky supposed to be in this movie?
15, 16.
No way, Blake. There's no way he's supposed to be that young in this movie. And he's hanging out with these adults?
Yeah, I think that's what, I don't know. How old do you think he is?
I don't know. 28? I'm joking. I figured like 18, 19 to be clear.
He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have a car.
Well, how's he getting around? Because he gets a chick to his house.
The kid next door is a meatball.
Sleazy asks, where are all the black people?
All right, that's enough. Twitch right there. He's right, though, Blake. Where are the minorities in this movie? I don't see a minority in this movie until the very end when the cops show up.
Yeah, we get a police chief at the end. So, I mean, there it is.
And he doesn't say their name right. He says Klopek instead of Klopek.
Well,
I mean,
Harper says they guys know tan lines. Looks nice.
I'm done with Twitch tonight, Blake. I can't deal with it.
Looks nice. We're 40 minutes in and we hadn't started, so let's get to the good, Ronnie.
All right. You want to go right into the good, bad, and the ugly? You don't want to talk about you just want to get into it.
I just want to get into it. I'm sure it'll naturally, organically come up, whatever you want to talk to.
All right. Before we do that, let's check the chat one last time.
All right.
And see if they're talking about anything. You haven't been monitoring to know if they're talking about anything, Blake?
Man, it's tough to keep up with the chat.
All right. Let's see what's going on, and then we'll get rolling. Real quick, while I'm checking the chat, who is your favorite character in this movie? And get ready. We need your goods, because we'll check the chat after we talk about our goods for this movie. What is one thing that's really good about the Burbs? Okay, let's see. All right. All right. Brett Patrick brings up a good point. The Walter neighbor looked like an ass. Yeah, he trained his dog to take a dump in Rumsfeld's lawn. So there you go. That's him celebrating pimping out Corey Haim. I don't even want to know.
Rumsfeld.
That's a wrestling entrance there with music. Absolutely right.
I downloaded that song a while ago, Ronnie.
Allie says Paul Walker in Varsity Blues. Is she saying he's got a better intro? What's going on right there? I don't know.
I'm trying to remember the introduction to Paul Walker. Is it at the pep rally where they introduce him?
I think it's on the washing machine. Bruce Dern gives Doc Brown vibes with his hair in this movie. You're absolutely right. Nick Push coming in with a great quote. In Southeast Asia, we'd call this bad karma. And he's talking about one of the best scenes in the movie, Blake. I'm going right to it. Thank you, Nick, for bringing this up. Let me get there. We may get pulled down tonight, Blake. If that's the case, if we get pulled down by YouTube, everybody just go to bed.
Who cares?
Now, a little backstory to this, Blake. They're over there arguing. Art's trying to make Ray look bad about not going and speaking to his neighbors. These guys have been in this neighborhood for weeks. Nobody's talked to them, and he embarrasses him in front of his kids. So he forces Art to go over there and knock on the door. As they knock on the door, we get the cute little 666 here. And then, of course, Blake, anybody that lives in the South knows if you got a wood house, eventually you're going to get bees inside there, and they're going to get you.
Yeah.
Hey. That looked like a little 80-yard hey in there. Did you hear that? Hey.
Yeah.
Look at this cul-de-sac here, Blake. I always wanted to live on a cul-de-sac as long as I was the only house on the street.
Run to me!
You see Walter running in his house in the background of that before shot a while ago.
Run the water!
Ronnie, when my son was 3 years old, I was chasing him with the water hose, and that happened to me.
Oh, this dude! Are you telling the truth, or are you just trying to make people laugh?
No.
Run to me! Run the water!
It hurts just as bad as you think. I was chasing him with the water hose. I thought I had plenty of slack, and I ran out, and it was rough.
Okay, let's see. Allie says it really is a team effort in this movie, and I would agree 100%. I think that's a good comment right there. Brett next door is a meatball. Let's see what we got here. I think people are. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into it, Blake. Let's see how well this works out. If it doesn't work out, we'll just keep this to a taped segment.
Okay.
But I seem to be partying in the next room.
Is that your place or mine?
That's mine. It's crazy around here 24/7.
So you want me to get into my first good, Ronnie?
Yeah, because yeah, go ahead.
It's going to be the tone of the movie, the set of this movie.
Yeah.
This entire movie takes place on this street. The only time you see a scene outside of this street is the intro, the Universal logo, when it shows planet Earth and it zooms in. That's the only time. And it zooms in on this street, and I mean, and it almost gives off a claustrophobic feel, Ronnie, like all these people are miserable, you know? I mean, even though I don't know, I had my mind made up on a tone, but now I'm like convincing myself it's something else. But it feels like Art is the only one truly happy there.
But is he really happy? Real quick, because I thought You're Good is the best one we're going to get. This whole neighborhood.
Yeah, it's the scene, the scenery, this whole street, which is obviously a backlot at Universal or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's just for me, it's the tone. They feel like they're trapped there. Nothing exciting ever happens. All they care about every single week is paint their house and fix their lawn and what kind of flowers are they going to do this month. I mean, it's the same thing over and over. So yeah, that's gonna be my first good, Ronnie, is like the tone of the movie and the setting of the movie. And really nice houses. I know everybody's already read the trivia. You got the Munsters house there, you got the Beaver Cleaver house there. Yeah, it's just looks really good. And it looks awesome when it rains too. Like when
It's really cool.
it starts pouring rain when they're spying on the Klopex. That lot looks so good in the background.
As a husband and a father, Blake, is that the kind of street and neighborhood you'd want to live on?
For sure. For sure. A dead end street like that's what we call it down here. You call it a cul-de-sac or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, we call it a dead end street. You kids can ride bikes, they can skate, whatever they're into. You can just hang out and not have to worry about idiots, driving into your yard.
Now, depending on where you get your information, a lot of people pinpoint at the very beginning when they do that animated Universal thing and it goes down into the, onto the planet, down to a certain street. They pinpointed it to like Iowa or somewhere like that. But a lot of other people say that there's Illinois plates on the garbage truck and things throughout the movie. So it might be a suburb of Illinois. So I'm going to say this and take it for what you want. If it's a suburb of Illinois, I don't want to have anything to do with it because it just seems like that's the busy, hectic life. But if it's a small town with that street, I'm all for it. I mean, because everybody's got wacky neighbors. Nobody's got perfect neighbors. And when it comes down to it, like we said earlier, none of these guys I don't think can stand each other. But at the same time, they get along enough. They just go home and bitch about each other. But you're right in your assessment that the Klopex united all these people together because they were so damn weird. I mean, it's just the weirdness of that. So that takes, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say one of the best shots of the movie, Ronnie, to me, is when young Klopek finally walks out onto the porch. And they're like, oh, look, one of them walked out.
Hey, one of the Huns came out of the cave.
You don't really see him fully from the front. They give him the Michael Myers treatment. It's kind of dark. But then you get a shot of over his shoulder. And he's just looking at this neighborhood. And it starts to the left. And you see Tom Hanks and Art, staring at him. And then if you look behind them in the background across the street, you see Rumsfeld and his wife. And if you really look close, Ronnie, way back to the left, you see Ricky and Tom Hanks' son back there. And he just pans and he keeps panning until he finally sees Walter and the dog over here. The dog who was in Silence of the Lambs, by the way. Yeah. But just one of the coolest shots of the movie and gives you a feel for how tight this street is. I mean, these people are all around you. Everybody's in your business.
Yeah, but I guess that comes
I'm going to staple that dog's ass shut.
I guess that
by God, I'll do it right now.
Having neighbors that are that close to you. I only got one good, Blake. I've only got one good. I know usually I have a few, but the hijinks that are going on in this neighborhood, at the very beginning of it, you get to see a little bit of Tom Hanks' personality, and I'm going to pull this up. Give me just a second. I just had it. Now it's gone. Now, okay, because I was looking for Tom and it's under Ray. All right, so this right here pops up.
Tom Ace. This is so underrated. This scene right here.
You got me with the Tom Ace. Does he have a name or should I call him Lawyer? So, yeah, you're right. This is one of the top 3 scenes in the movie to me. It's like the kid aimed at his coffee.
He's reaching out. I mean, what if he would have got him? That's the best.
You just hear the bike fall. Look at this perfect life, though. You're introduced to Ray right here. Perfect house. Got the perfect front porch right there if you want to hang out on that and let the cool afternoon breeze hit you. Manicured lawn that I would hate to have to try to keep up with. Then all of a sudden you see maybe it's not so perfect. Oh, that's so great.
He slings it so good.
Yeah, that is so great. Just the hijinks in this movie, the characters, their reaction to having weird neighbors, Tom Hanks going from what appears to be the straight man in the neighborhood to a slow descent into paranoia, watching out the back window, seeing these guys dig, constantly looking at the windows, and you see people, and they do a really good job. Joe Dante does a really good job. It's sort of like Psycho in a way, that you see the shades open every now and then and something peeking out at you, and they build the tension. And anybody watching this movie knows this is not a full-fledged horror movie. So
No.
there's going to be a comedic element at some point. And that's the reason I think the ending, the swerve at the ending, is really good when you find out, okay, they really are killers. Boom. But just the paranoia that he has just a little bit of. And then it starts getting expanded by Art and his stupid stories talking about grave diggers. And you talked about they introduce Art eating everything. I love those scenes as a kid. I'm fat. I love any kind of scene where a character's eating ribs. Like he eats their whole breakfast. And I think that's great. It's just funny to me.
Did you notice that he eats dog food?
No, I did not notice he eats dog food.
Carrie Fisher walks by with the dog's bowl and he thinks it's snacks and he reaches in and starts eating it.
That's great. Nick says, my former neighbor sold rain barrels. One time I climbed his fence, making sure there weren't bodies in them. He pulled in the driveway while I was there. I blame this movie. I could stop the chat right now and ask Nick why he's trying to steal stuff from his neighbor. Chet Vanian says he's the Klopek of his neighborhood. I live, imagine this, Pat, with millions of dollars. I live on a cul-de-sac, and this could easily be my neighborhood. So,
if you put all the houses together, it'd be Brett's house.
Or Pat's.
Or Pat's.
Yeah, so, Tom Hanks's paranoia grows. Just the things these guys get into together. We played the scene where they're daring each other to go knock on the door. Then, of course, Rumsfeld's across the road, Blake, judging these guys. They're daring each other to knock on the door. And then the moment he runs over to help him, now his crazy brain, he joins in with this club, and now there's three people paranoid trying to figure out what's going on next door. They're bringing out night vision binoculars, and they're trying to figure out what the hell the noise is underneath the house. And that scene, dude, where they're over by the trash cans and you just see the bottom of the house just light up after that loud noise, and Dern goes, smells like you're cooking a damn cat over there. So something weird is happening over there in that scene where Courtney Gaines, by the way, in this movie, Blake, extremely creepy and doesn't say much, but he leaves a huge impact in this movie when he muscles up that huge bag and puts it into those old school aluminum cans, and it doesn't fit. And then he just starts beating the hell out of the garbage with that hoe. I mean, it is great. And then they're just sitting there looking, because all I'm thinking about is when Dick Miller shows up the next day, how the hell is he going to get that garbage out of there after he's done packed it in that tight? It's not coming out. You're going to have to tear the bag open. But just the stuff they get into, breaking in the house, going into Walter's house when he disappears, trying to keep the Klopeks busy, and then Art over the back fence to try to figure out what's going on. And then at the end of it, they break into their damn house and they're digging on the floor because Ray steals Walter's toupee that's in the bathroom. So I never figured out how that got over there anyway, unless the Klopeks were going through his house. So
the Klopeks were getting his mail for him, Ronnie.
Were they really? I mean,
he picked up a stack of magazines and grabbed it. It was in between the magazines and stuff.
Yeah, but why would Walter ask the Klopeks to pick his mail up when he's got that terrified look at him at the beginning of the movie when they first walk out? Because none of them have a relationship with him.
That's a good point. It's a good point. I was just telling you the explanation that we got in the movie.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's a lot in this movie is just these crazy, wacky neighbors getting into stupid stuff. And at times, Ray is trying to convince himself, okay, this is not true. This is not true. And then something small happens and he's having damn dreams. He's watching horror movies before he goes to bed. And he has one of them wild ass dreams where he's walking through there and everything's smoking. And just like in Mac and Me, when the drill comes through the wall, it's the chainsaw through the wall. And then Art tells the story about the guy that back in the 60s or whatever that had all the dead bodies over at his house. And the hijinks in this movie are second to none. It's a really big part of this, why this movie's so good.
Yeah.
All right. What's your next good?
Oh, I only had one good, Ronnie.
Oh, there you go. I only saw a couple of goods in the chat, so we'll move on, Blake, to your bad.
Okay. My bad is Carrie Fisher, and it's not for the reason you think it is. I think she plays her role perfect. I really like the wife who is disappointed and dreading how her husband's going to waste his 2 weeks of vacation. The reason I got her in my bad is because I feel like her character's wasted. I actually think we don't get enough of Carrie Fisher. I feel like we don't get enough of her relationship with Tom Hanks and the son. They leave to go to a lake, which is supposedly
you just want to go to a lake the whole time,
which is supposedly a 4 or 5 hour drive. And I think they end up going to the lake, or maybe they go to her parents' house. Maybe I'm confusing it. But then she comes back at the end, and then they're going to go again. I don't know. But yeah, I just thought that they could have gave her a little bit more, a little more conflict between her and her husband. I mean, things are obviously not good if she's going away without him. I mean, it's a vacation,
Yeah.
But I also want to talk about the relationship between Tom Hanks and the son, because it feels like they were going to hint on a storyline, Ronnie, and they just abandoned it, but they sprinkled some stuff back in there. So in the beginning, he's telling his dad, my family's home too, so it's going to get loud. He's telling his dad that him and Ricky, are investigating the Klopex or whatever. And his dad is like, stop it, just quit hanging out with Ricky, stop. And he tells Art, stop filling his head with terrible ideas. And he kind of rolls his eyes at his dad. Well, then you see the bee chase scene where he's getting sprayed with bees. Well, it happens to zoom in on the son's face, and he's just like so disappointed and embarrassed by his dad. So you think that like they're building this up to where he doesn't respect his dad, and
yeah,
then at the end, this thing's going to happen, and it's going to be like, my dad is a great guy, and he's a hero, and he's brave. And I feel like they gave the line to Ricky at the end. Well, no, Ricky needed that line, but it should have been an interaction with the son at the end. He goes up to Tom Hanks, and he's like, this is after, the finale of the movie, and he revealed that they're murderers, and he saved the day. And he's like, Mr. Tom Hanks, you did it, and he's like, Ricky, I'm going away for a while.
Mr. Tom Hanks, he's effed up on coke, and he called him by his real name.
He's Ricky, I'm going away for a while. I need you to look after the neighborhood for me. And he's like, yes, sir. And he's like looking at him with such admiration. And I'm like, that should have been for the son, yes. I know he's not going to leave the son at home, but like that admiration should have been left for the son and not Ricky. So yeah, that's my only bad on this movie. I can't say anything else. Like all the characters are great. I just felt like there was a little missed plot point with the wife and the son there.
Yeah, see, that's my bad too. This is the first time we've done a show like this where me and you have the exact same bad. I've got one bad, and I agree with you 100%. I think Carrie Fisher was underutilized in this movie. Her and Tom Hanks obviously have a really good marriage, but how good is it really if after a week they're already at each other's throats? Because it's like he's done this before. he gets so obsessed what's going on in the neighborhood, and she knows it's coming. So she's trying to get them as far away as possible with this 5-hour drive to the lake so they can leave all this craziness behind, because she knows he's going to be out, because he actually had a good plan. He's going to get his new tools out. He was going to listen to some ball games on the radio,
drink a couple of 100 beers, fix the barbecue. He had a plan. Their relationship is not totally ruined though, Ronnie, because we do get a nice moment of where, and it reminded me of how things used to be when we were kids. They're sitting together on the couch watching Jeopardy, and they're keeping their own score, Ronnie. I mean, you want to talk about some old school stuff, playing the game. I mean, I thought that was
that's a bonding thing right there. That's like, this is what we love to do. But it's like she's got like multiple personalities in this movie, because she's sweet at some times, and then she's just like a huge ball breaker when it comes to, I mean, even Rumsfeld tells him, can you take your balls out of your wife's purse and tell her we actually think something's going on around here? But she's constantly all over him. It's like she is dominating him, like she's the man of the marriage. And I don't know if they intended for it to be that way, if it was her choice or Joe Dante's choice for that to happen, or because of the writer's strike, they were just going with the flow and she thought that was the better creative choice. But I think she's very unlikable for about 90% of this movie.
I think she's more good looking in this than she is in Star Wars.
That's what Jet Vanian, he's already put it out there that
he did?
Yeah, that he likes the way she looks in this movie. I put it up on the screen. Awesome. But I think she's underutilized, and I think she might be she's definitely the worst character, and that's including Rumsfeld's wife, because she just comes off so domineering. And I don't know, it's like she just runs Ray's life. So some people's brought up the garbage scene, and after they smash the cans, they're going to reconvene in the morning and check those cans out. And when they come back, the garbage guys are already digging. They're already loaded up, and they come running through there. And I think that's a great scene. So let me play that really quickly.
Taxes pay your salary. Look.
So there's a full-fledged, it's not even 8 o'clock. There's a full-fledged argument. Hold on a second. I'm sorry.
He's in the truck.
Yeah, there's a full-fledged argument going on with Bruce Dern and Dick Miller right now in a Joe Dante movie. They're in the garbage truck trying to find a dead body right here.
I don't want to hear any of your bullshit either. The question here is garbage. And who picks up this mess?
Who picks up this mess?
You can see this disheveled look on Tom Hanks. He's got the beard working. Look at his face that this cokehead is making next to him right here. What is that? Elvis face, Matt Dillon in Wild Things. Sex face right there. I don't know what's going on.
Pick up this mess, or you're going to pick up the mess because
he quit shaving halfway through like Kramer.
Because you are a garbage man.
So he's pretty yoked too, Blake.
Yeah.
I mean, let me back it up a little bit. Bruce Dern. I mean, let's see if we can see these legs.
You're going to pick up the mess because you are a garbage man.
So he just tells him straight up. And did you notice, Blake? I'm sure you did. Did you notice that later on in the movie, the garbage is still on the road? Yeah. There one spot they didn't pick anything up. Did you know? We'll talk about that at the end. But somebody else brought up one more scene. What did they bring up? Let me find it really quickly. There was another Rumsfeld scene that I wanted to talk about before we get into the ugly, where he falls off the house.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, Rumsfeld!
So first off, Blake, I want you to look at this right here. Look at how unathletic Corey Feldman is. Watch this.
I broke this scene down. Yeah, I've already seen it 100 times, Ronnie. But yeah, let's watch it.
Look at that car in the background. It's pretty awesome. You said they didn't have a car.
That's his friend's car.
Oh. What's that walk at? What is that little hop that he does after that? He trying to get over the flowers?
He's clearly like 85 pounds, too.
Yo, Rumsfeld!
Gosh, dude, this right here is death. Rumsfeld dies falling off the house. He doesn't get killed by a Klopek. He survived Vietnam, and he comes home and falls off his house.
That first bump, look at that. That first bump's tough.
That second one when he hits right there. Fun fact, guys, you won't find this anywhere on the internet. Bruce Dern did this himself. He did 10 takes. Oh, right there. It's a tough one.
awesome.
Look at this crew right here.
Jesus, look at that guy on the left, man.
Weird Al Yankovic Jr. over here. I'm pretty sure the chick is probably one of Corey Feldman's real life girlfriends. You got this guy right here. What was he in, Blake? I think he was in that movie with Vin Diesel when they were in that room trying to sell people stocks. And you got this guy over here. He's got his hair feathered like we don't know he's going bald. We know.
We know, dude.
We know.
Old school Doritos in his hand, too.
So that is a really great scene. Let me look through here really quickly before we get to the ugly. There's a ton of Rumsfeld stuff.
Oh, yeah. Rumsfeld, I mean, when he's in the house peeling the wallpaper of the Klopex, and, you know, when he says, is Klopek, is that Slavic or whatever? He's like, no.
What is that, Slavic?
No.
And he goes right back to staring at Tom Hanks. He took his eyes off Tom Hanks for 2 seconds just to address that Slavic question, and he's right back to staring.
So what we've got right here is Tom Hanks and them have gone so far in this movie that Carrie Fisher and Rumsfeld's wife are like, okay, this is enough. We're going to go over there and we're going to talk to these people. Okay. And we're going to find out more than 5 minutes of conversation than you guys have in 8 months of snooping. So they go over there and it leads to it leads to a great scene and maybe the greatest improvisation in this movie, Blake. And my favorite line from the movie.
There go the goddamn brownies.
Dude, play that again. It's such a slow fall, and those are the ones that hurt the worst, Ronnie.
So he held on to it, Blake. He held on to it through the first foot, which is great coordination, by the way. It's the second foot going through right beside it that made him drop it. And it's the chair there. Watch this.
Tom Hanks does nothing to help.
Tom Hanks is defeated. He is a defeated human being. His wife has denutted him in front of the only other two men in the neighborhood. He is defeated. He just gets drug over there. He has nothing to say to these other two males. His wife runs the show. He gives it sounds like Jason getting hit.
The brownies hit the wicker chair, and that's what caused them to spill. Watch.
Damn brownies. He ain't even worried that he fell through the dude's porch. It says,
It's the second hole in that porch too, Ronnie, because Art went through it earlier.
There go the goddamn brownies. Here you go, Sonny.
He runs out, Blake. Courtney Gaines runs out. Watch this. It's not like a slow, creepy opening.
There go the goddamn.
He wants to know what's going on.
What's happening on my porch?
Here you go, Sonny. A little something for the old sweet tooth.
Oh, God. That is so good. I'm crying over here.
Real quick, I know I'm putting you on the spot. Hans, is that the worst facial hair in the movie?
Oh, without a doubt. Look, man. We can talk about Courtney Gaines all we want, but when it comes to Courtney Gaines, he'll always be known.
You shit on my house, man. No. You shit on my house!
That's what he should have told Rumsfeld on the porch right there. Hey, man, you just my house. So go for it.
I know.
One more time. Look at that power behind that. It's like a maniacal scream. Blake, have you ever been friends with anybody else if they threw a bag of doo-doo on your house?
Nah.
You shit on my house, man. No.
I know.
I know.
We got to get that in a rotation to review quickly. Is there anything to check in the chat? I haven't even looked at the chat. Are they talking or we put them to sleep?
I think they've all bailed on us at this point, Ronnie, which is fine.
Oh, here we go.
You got to respect it.
You got to respect it. All right, so here we go. Jake Blaster says, hot take.
Jake, what are you doing?
This movie is overrated. So, I mean,
it's an opinion.
It definitely is an opinion.
You want to go ahead and kick him out of the chat, Ronnie?
No.
You dumb fuck!
So there you go. I mean, it is an opinion. So what do you do? Okay, so back to the chat. Let's see. Pat says Feldman was doing too much coke with Haim.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Blake. Look at this guy right here. Jet Vanian with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jet.
Jet, he gets the videos now, Ronnie. He gets all the videos. You got to hit him with it.
Well, I think he just wants this one. Okay, so
is that what he wanted?
Nah, he said edit, so I'll give him. We got a couple of new ones. So
yeah,
here we go. Could have gave that one to Blaster. The only new one I have. Okay, I guess we got to go with some of the classics right here.
Go with
Wiping just my ass, because I mean, I can't reach everything on my back and I can't reach everything below me, so you know, it's whatever.
It's whatever, man.
Thank you, Chad. We get to go through all these right here. Blake, you is.
You is flexible. Boy, you do not. Oh,
you is flexible.
And one more for Jet. Jet, you are my number one grumpy goat. I love you.
You got it. Just lean forward. Don't lean back. Lean forward. Ready? Ready? Push. Ready? Oh, you got that big Oh, shit!
Tore everything.
And lastly, everybody knows anytime somebody takes the time to donate our show any money, this is all that's going through my head.
Oh, do me.
So there you go. Jet, great guy. At least I think he's a great guy. So there you go. There you go. Blake, I think it's time for the ugly. So look at these transitions. Give me just a second.
Ronnie, while you're setting everything up, why don't you explain what this means?
All right. So in the chat, if anybody wants to play along with us, our good, bad, and the ugly is the ugliest person in this film. So who is the ugliest person, physical features and all, of the Burbs?
I think it's got to be Courtney Gaines, Ronnie. I mean, the red hair, the terrible facial hair. I mean, the freckles, the pale skin. I mean, is that his real teeth? Probably not, but he's got to be the ugliest person. If he's in a movie, he's the ugliest person in a movie. I don't make the rules.
If he's in a movie, he's the ugliest person in the movie. He is definitely ugly, Blake. You win the ugly portion of the good, bad, and the ugly. I had to go with Brother Theodore, Ruben Klopek.
He's so good.
When he's staring, they go over there, and Tom Hanks, it's everything Tom Hanks had envisioned it would be if he went to that house. He goes in, it's awkward. This guy who has seen him do all this stuff walks up, sits down right beside him, and is giving him the stink face while everybody else is trying to have a casual conversation. He's sitting there with his knees together, and this guy is just staring at him. We get this scene right here that Blake was talking about.
Slavic? No.
Back to staring at him.
On the tension scale, Rube.
Right back to looking at him. Let me back that up just a second.
The sound effects that happens when Tom Hanks eats that pretzel and sardine.
Dude.
Oh, my God.
We'll talk about that in just a second. You're right.
No.
About a 9 on the tension scale, Rube.
He patted him on the back. That's what's great about that. He don't know this guy from anything. And he pats him on the back. About a 9 on the tension scale there, Rube. So you're right, though.
Oh.
The sound he makes, because they're talking about something, Blake. I can't remember what they're talking about. And Courtney Gaines brings out sardines and pretzels. And Tom Hanks, of course, because his wife's looking at him, he's the only one that has to accept them. The rest of them say no. He eats it, and he's sitting there thinking about what he's possibly just eaten. I don't know if he doesn't like sardines or what, but just the noise it's making, as he's putting it on there and he's chewing it up, and he's sitting there thinking about it. And I'm saying, he's like, he throws
And he looks at her like this is your fault.
He grabs a bag of meat, spits it up into the newspaper.
He blows his nose and he spits and wipes and sets it down, sets it back on the table.
Oh my God. But yeah, I'm going. Let me go back to this real quick. I'm going with Rube Klopek. The hair, he's got the helmet hair going up the top right there. It looks great down there. His face, he's weathered. He may have a little Native American in him or Aztec. I haven't decided yet. Blake, I found out a lot of stuff about this Brother Theodore guy. Apparently he was on the early Letterman episodes, and he would do like some kind of one-man theater thing that was supposedly funny back then, but it's not really funny now. So, I mean, he's ugly. I mean, who else could I go with? I guess I could have went with Doc Klopek, who I don't even have a picture of. But the weirdest thing about him, he's not he's a sweet looking guy. He's just got a wig on. Dick Miller and the other the trash man, they're not bad looking guys. Art is not bad looking guy. All the women are not ugly. I mean, if we really wanted to go with it, Art's wife, who never appeared in the movie, but did you know Art had a pet pig in this movie? It's the chick right here that was supposed to be his wife. That's the one that's got the wig that George is going to snatch off her head in the revenge episode of Seinfeld.
That's right.
Don't move, the wig comes off. She was going to be, or she was his wife. We just never actually get to see her. Maybe we do. Maybe that's her back in the background when they say your wife's home. So there you go. She would have definitely been the ugliest person if we would have got to that. But I mean, that's the ugly. So what have we left off not talking about so far? They get over to the Klopek's house, and of course, this right here happens, Blake. We can't get there without this wonderful. Let me find it.
Yeah, Allie's got a good point in the chat. Like if you've never had sardines before and you watch this scene, like you don't want to eat sardines ever. I mean, you know. And I ate sardines recently, and
all right. Let me check the chat real quick while you're talking. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I don't have anything to say. I was going to check the chat. You tell me about the sardines.
They're just as nasty as Tom Hanks made them out to be in the movie.
Jed says, "Leave Brother Theodore alone." Rip. I've never had a sardine. I don't think I've ever had a sardine in my life. I've never had the desire to have a sardine, Blake. I mean, I can't be missing anything when it comes to sardines, I wouldn't think. Blake, here we go. Let me get this off here just a second because it's going to be repeat time. Look at this guy right here. Jim Bob, we did it earlier in the show, but because you're here live, sorry I'm late, fellas. My girl needed some quality time. I'm not even going to try to guess what that means, Blake. Assume it's filthy, but you're the newest grumpy goat, and every grumpy goat gets this right here. So thank you, Jim Bob, for that. We really appreciate it. Back to this, Blake. We hit the gas line, Art, run. And Art doesn't even attempt, Blake. He doesn't even attempt to help Ray out of this hole. They've been digging all night. The Klopeks come home with their lights off. They spot these guys on their property, and they go get the cops, which doesn't make a lot of sense because they know they have dead bodies on the premises. Why would they bring the cops back to find these dead bodies? If you got neighbors talking about, hey, there's weird stuff going on in the basement, then the cops would want to check the basement. And like Dr. Klopek says, I know you found my skulls. So, I mean, there you go with that, Blake.
Tom Hanks is dead. Tom Hanks is dead.
There's even a dead tree in the front yard. They've got a dead tree in the front yard. The whole property is dead. It's like demonic. Look at this engulfing explosion right here,
There's
Blake.
no way he's alive.
Nobody survives this. Nobody survives it. Look at this crew right here. Coke Heads Anonymous. That dude's got cotton candy on top of his head.
Ricky should have started to throw a party.
You're right. He is dead in this. He's dead. I mean, and when he comes out of this, the stuff they put on him is fantastic because it's so creative. What the injuries that he has, I know you're looking at me like I'm stupid right now, but
the eyes swollen shut and
injuries that he has is great because they go through the whole scene where all the Klopeks are making sad faces because their house got blown up, and Art's like, Ray. He's got smoke coming off of him, Blake.
Well, yeah, he was down there at ground zero, Ronnie. The explosion happened down there, and it was powerful enough to blow up the whole house. So that's what I'm saying. He didn't live.
That's the kind of stuff that's at a Chris Fantasy concert right here. They got that smoke going.
Exactly.
He's leaning back he's got his hands in his pockets. In case you guys never noticed, he's got his hands in his pockets.
Wouldn't he have went through the porch, Ronnie?
We would have went up with that thing on the top of the house.
That's what I'm saying is the porch is rotten. Walking out, he would have went through it.
He's waving with that one hand. That's what's great. He's got that one hand out. His left hand is on our right side. He's waving. Look at that eye. His wife comes home to find her husband disfigured. They've blown up a house. He's going to prison, and he's just looking and goes, "Oh, you got your hair done. It looks nice."
And that goes back to their relationship still having, still being nice. It's kind of like Rocky in a way. I mean, the makeup, his eye looks like Rocky, and Rocky just did something incredible. And the first thing he says to Adrian is, "Where's your hat?" And he's fixing to get arrested for a bunch of nonsense. And the first thing he says to Carrie Fisher is, "You got a haircut. It looks good."
Looks good. So, I mean, I guess you could say in a way, him getting exploded, blowed up, got him back to normal. It got him back to normal. And now he's thinking clear again. He's going to prison, but he's thinking clear. This is a great scene right here too. I love every decision that's made in this movie. That walk down the steps right there is great. That's like me when my back's hurting. Back it up. Look at this, dude. You're right. I'm pretty sure the screen door's still good there too. But I mean, this whole set is going to fall in, and it's amazing. And then Art runs up like, "Ray, you found it, right? You found it. You had to find it before it blew, right, Ray?" "No, I didn't find anything." And you get the long, big spiel here, Blake, where he's like, "We're the weirdos. It's us, not them. They're just trying to live a normal life." And he's completely wrong because Dr. Klopek gets in the ambulance with him. Hey, how about this, Blake? I'm sure you know that because it seems like we went to the same school of look up facts about Burbs. But talking about the improvisation in this movie, Tom Hanks improvised the whole "I'm blowed up, just take me to the hospital." That whole scene was not written in the script. He did it himself, and it was so funny they kept it in there. But Klopek gets in the back and he goes, "I'm sorry, Mr. Klopek, I got some tools. I'll help rebuild your house." And he's like, "I know you saw my skulls. I'm not an idiot." And he's going to like inject him and kill him. I don't know what Klopek's going for here. If he kills Tom Hanks in this ambulance, he's still going to go to jail. I mean, what is he doing? Tom Hanks fights him off. Courtney Gaines is driving the ambulance, and they come flying out and bump into the car. Trunk comes up. Ricky finds the skulls. They go to jail. And it's revealed all along.
We talk about Bruce Dern taking that bump off the roof earlier. The bump he takes into Courtney Gaines here in a minute when the ground's really wet is even more intense, Ronnie. It hurt my knees watching that, especially for Courtney Gaines.
Dude, I don't even know if I got that on here.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Bob just brought it up. "Hey, Pinocchio, where you going?" And then he chases after him.
I don't have it. I do not have it. Gee whiz.
Yeah, go check out the alternate ending to this movie. It's not as good as the original, but it's still pretty funny.
I do have this. We didn't talk about him cutting the power and Art taking this bump.
Tom Hanks is about to say, "Oh, Jesus Christ," because Art's dead. He's dead.
He's dead, man. They ain't got to the Klopek's house yet. Look at that fall. He asked Rumsfeld, why didn't you go up there? It's awful high.
Dad. Ronnie, that's 10 on top. That's 10.
Oh my God, I'm laughing.
Ooh, look at my fingers. My fingernails are black. Oh.
This is just a great scene. It's a great scene. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. To the chat one more time, Blake, and then anything we haven't talked about anything we haven't covered that you guys in the chat want to hear us cover. Blake, I think a lot of the people, they come and they sit in the chat and they just listen. We need some interaction here. Twitch is leaving y'all.
I'm gonna put Bruce Dern in the same camp I put John Lithgow in last week, Ronnie. I know everybody loves him,
yeah,
but I still feel like he's underrated. I still feel.
Is he still alive?
He's still alive. He's like 88 years old.
Yeah. Bruce Dern, I think he was in the original I lost it. What's the name of the movie that Leonardo DiCaprio was in? Great Gatsby.
Oh, Titanic.
He was in the original Great Gatsby. He was good in it. He's good in Digstown. He's really good in Digstown as the owner, the main guy in that town, the main bettor that James Woods is betting with. He's good in that. He's a really good actor, and he's really good. He stole the scenes in this movie. I mean, he's the best character in this movie if we were doing best characters. Pat says easily Courtney Gaines is being the ugliest. I need him to hang out with me so I look pretty. Jet says leave Brother Theodore alone. I think I done went through that one. Let's see.
I think Allie had Walter as her ugliest character.
Really? I didn't see that. Walter's he's 100. Push is right. The big dialogue at the end is not them, it's us.
Push is not right. Look for his other comment.
What do you say?
He said this in his video too that I watched earlier. He says that Bruce Dern is married to Laura Dern from Jurassic Park.
No, he's not.
That's his daughter.
Yeah.
Nick.
Maybe he's married. Maybe Nick thinks he's married to Nick's hunting a college party. Leave him alone. All right, let's see. Hey, Pinocchio, where you going? Bruce Dern was awesome. Yes, this one right here. My wife's home. There at the end, you get the kooky
Philly music.
Effects. Yeah. Bruce Dern nails Dakota Fanning in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Never seen it. Spoiler alert. Let's see.
He's looking really old in that movie, Ronnie.
I've never seen it. Satan's good. Satan's your pal. That's when Tom Hanks is doing the leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone.
I'm just trying to get some goddamn sleep.
This movie had it all. Bruce Dern, Corey Feldman, Tom Hanks, Princess Leia, and a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 clip. Ray, you're Channing. Let's see. Hateful Eight. That was the last movie I saw him in too, Jim Bob, was Hateful Eight. Nick, showing how wrong he is. He married Laura Dern. He married somebody with his same last name from Jurassic Park. He only wants to marry somebody with his last name. So he was in Django Unchained. Jimbo says Digtown's great, and we're going to review Digstown. We need to put that on the wheel for us. Brett says Bruce Dern is one of the few actors to kill John Wayne in a movie.
I read that earlier, and he got death threats for that too.
Great movie, Ronnie. Never Hustle a Con Man. He's talking about Digstown. Digstown's great. Take the bump, baby. Brett saying Digstown, Dern plays a great heel in that. Nick Push says that's like the Big Show comment. Look, you guys go watch if you haven't seen it already, and I'm pretty sure you all have because it's the same guys. Go check out Nick Push's review of Batman Returns. I'm sorry. Yeah. And he talks about the Big Show being in that movie, even though it was 1991 and Big Show didn't get famous till like 1994. But he's really in there. So you guys go check it out. It's Bull Hurley, Nick. Bull Hurley. And then he asked me, are you sure?
Are you sure, Ronnie?
Are you sure that's not Big Show? Big Show had a full head of hair up into like 2004 or 5. So Allie says, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was really good. Ronnie, I think you would like it.
You do need to see it.
Yeah, I never have time to watch any movies, but we'll put it, me and my wife put it on our list to watch it. Where are we leaving out real quick, Blake?
I think it's time to go home, Ram.
Let's take it home. Okay.
Take it home.
Let's take it home. I guess the plugs. Hit the plugs real quick, Blake, while I think about what we got to talk about.
I'm good.
Okay. So Friday, Blake, are we still on? We postponed the Good, Bad, and Ugly with Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. Are we gonna have to postpone that again? Are you busy on Friday, or will you be able to do it? It's no big deal. We can keep postponing it. I mean, we got plenty of content out there.
It was kind of like a impromptu thing I had to do with the family. So, and I really didn't know about it till that morning. But as of right now, Friday is open, and I would love to do what do we call it? Is it just a review?
Oh, I had
no. Why Friday the 13th Part 8 is good or something like that?
No, I had it listed as a Good, Bad, and Ugly. Remember, we were going to do our first Good, Bad, and Ugly with Friday the 13th Part 8.
Let's do it.
You want to do it?
Book it.
Okay, we'll book it, guys, Friday, and it's probably going to be what time, Blake? 8:30ish, 9. So if you haven't set the bell notifications yet, this might be a reason to set the bell notification. If you're at home on Friday, just wait for us to send the message saying, hey, we're canceling because this or this or this. But we'll try to do a little justice to Friday the 13th, Part 8. Next week, Blake, thanks, Jet. Thanks for the donation, buddy. Thanks for being a Patreon. A Grumpy Goat. And I hope you have a good night too, buddy.
You're the best.
He says, great stream, guys. Got to go watch my Stars. Send
That's
positive.
Right. Go Stars.
The rest of the week is really good. Fantastic wants to know if we're going to do Star Wars Justice. Star Wars is coming up on May the 3rd, I think, Blake.
May the 4th be with you.
We couldn't do it on May the 4th because we're going to have stuff going on. So it'll be May the 3rd. We're going to do our best to do justice to Star Wars. So if you guys are interested in that, you can check that out. Blake, next week, a live review of Masters of the Universe. Dolph Lundgren, Frank Langella, Billy Bartle, or whatever his name is, Courtney Cox are all here to try to save Eternia with the key. It's going to be great.
The key.
Movie, 1987 classic. If you're a fan of the Masters of the Universe movie, if you're a fan of Dolph Lundgren, Frank Langella, be here. We will spend way too much time on a movie that probably doesn't deserve a lot of time because we'll go ahead and spoil it. We love Masters of the Universe.
Yes, and I'll go ahead and tell you, my favorite scene is when they're eating that chicken in the car, Roddy.
The barbecue. So go ahead and get ready for that. Next week, Masters of the Universe. Blake, videos that we have out right now. We have We Ruined Halloween. Let's Ruin Halloween. So if you haven't watched that video, go check it out. We find things that we could put in the plot of Halloween to ruin that. We're gonna
ruin Terminator next, right?
Terminator 2 will be ruined next. That'll be our next Let's Ruin. So if you want to catch that early, you know how to do that. We talked about that earlier in the show. We got a couple of ideas down the pike that we're going to try, a couple of horror things. And like I said earlier, a lot of Lethal Weapon stuff. Some Deadpool 3 stuff is going to be coming soon. That's a surprise to Blake right now. We're going to talk Deadpool 3 and Wolverine and Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. I am super excited about that movie. But that's it, Blake. That's what I got. So let me wrap this up real quick. Anything else, Blake? Anything in the chat before we go? I see 5 things right there.
Y'all have a good night, guys. Everybody saying bye and good stream and all that. We appreciate y'all stopping by or whatever. And y'all have a good night.
The one thing I do like is we seem to have kept everybody pretty much all night. I don't know if they left the computer, but we kept a steady dose of a dozen to 13 people in here.
I think the magician canceled his gig and stayed with us.
So hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Hope you guys enjoy the review. Blake, anything else?
No.
Words of wisdom?
I don't have any.